Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here in Foley Square, the Southern District of New York Courthouse. We've got covering the cases. Eric Adams, this morning, the mayor of the city of New York, City Hall not far from here, 5:58 a.m. his lawyers filed a motion for sanctions, saying that the prosecutor, Damian Williams, and his team just over there, violated by leaking grand jury materials. 23-page memo of law. We've put it online. We'll see. It's a very aggressive defense. Whether the argument that gratuities are allowed will play out, we'll just have to see. They're scheduled tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. The building behind me, 40 Foley Square. Whether it happens there or in the taller building with the bigger courtrooms, we'll just have to see. But we'll be covering it. Inner City Press, we're all over it. On the Sean Combs, yes, he has now appealed his detention, or at least filed notice of appeal, meaning he'll be filing and so-called perfecting an appeal in the Second Circuit. When they'll hear the argument, I don't know. Some people have asked me what I think the odds are. There's a lot of deference to, and this was the magistrate, Judge Tarnowski, and Judge Carter, both found that he couldn't be released, so that would be the presumption on the appeal, but you never know. Maybe he's got some, I think he's going to say $50 million. Maybe he's going to change the offer a little bit. Could get remanded to be reconsidered in some way, but we'll be all over that one. We will cover it. Now, yesterday, Eric Adams' lawyers chose to do a press conference uptown. We instead went to the Damian Williams press conference about a fentanyl case, an 18-defendant superseding indictment, fake websites seeming to be selling Adderall and especially oxycodone, and then mailing fentanyl, and 9 people dead, one a National Guards woman. Now, yesterday, late in the magistrate's court, Alba Gonzalez was released. She's one of the 18 defendants. The prosecutor said they wanted her detained, but when she wasn't, they didn't appeal it to either Judge Cronin, who has the case, or to the Part 1 judge. Probably would have gone to Judge Cronin. So that was strange. She's released on her own signature, of course, some bond, etc., but she's out. Also, there were 2 individuals in a sort of one of the 2 cases flowing into the superseding indictment that were allowed to plead guilty only last week, thereby apparently dodging the causing death charge, which carries a 20-year mandatory minimum. So it's a case that we're going to be looking at pretty closely. Today at the United Nations, that sinkhole of corruption and censorship, Antonio Guterres, himself implicated, I would say, in at least the China Energy Fund Committee, Patrick Ho, prosecution and conviction for UN corruption down here. Today is a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day of the month, October 1. So Switzerland is taking over the Security Council. We've written to them. They're ostensibly a neutral country. We've said we want to ask questions, even whether Guterres is intent on banning and censoring the press or not. Switzerland has a separate duty. We'll see. They're going to do a press conference at 12:30. We'll be reporting on that as well. But for now, into the court. There's actually closing arguments in the building right behind me in a case of NBA and WNBA-related swindles. A guy called Calvin Darden Jr. has been on trial. We wrote a story yesterday about it, for basically defrauding Dwight Howard, the NBA player, into believing that he could buy the Atlanta dream of the WNBA. He wired money, millions of dollars, and then it didn't happen, and then he asked for the money back, and no, not so much. So we'll see what the jury thinks after the closing arguments. InnerCityPress.com. We will not cease.